Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlicker, shills, desolators, peasants, vassals, minions, meat sacks. I'm Useful Idiot. Welcome. And let's go to Germany and talk about Volkswagen announcing that they're going to be laying off 30,000 workers over the next 5 years. And as you get into the details of the story, it gets less and less dramatic, but still pretty interesting development. And I think what it tells me is that Germany's forging ahead in the future. And in this case, with Volkswagen, they want to try and recover from the hits they've taken from all these emission scandals, and then also invest their money in electric cars. They think that is the future. That's what this move's about. And Germany, I think, is going to be a lot more pragmatic and probably a little more compassionate about this shift forward. And this kind of story bears that out as you get into the details a little bit more, because essentially it's a labor agreement in order to save labor to a certain extent over the next 5 years. Volkswagen imagines that they're going to sell 3 million electric cars a year by 2025, 5 years from now. So they're preparing for that. And part of that is to get rid of some unnecessary labor. In this case, 30,000 workers worldwide. I think 23,000 of them are in Germany. So Germany will bear the brunt for now. And that's really telling in an economy like Germany's, where the labor pool is pretty resilient. And of course, they have quite a support state there. So anyway, for that many people to be laid off, particularly in such a hardcore industry like that in Germany, is kind of a big deal. But it's only 5% of their global workforce. They employ 624,000 globally, and they think they're going to save $3.9 billion in expenses by this layoff. And it's even calling it a layoff is a little misleading, because they're going to do it all through early retirement and not replacing workers or leave, all through attrition. So for the time being, at least, they're not technically laying anybody off. And I noticed also that they plan to hire nearly 10,000 new jobs of technicians and like that they're going to need, because they're going to move away from the combustion engine manufacturing and move into more people who do electronics, digital technology, and batteries. But one of the things that was interesting about this to me, for one, is the fact that I did a video recently where a VW executive talked about the fact that electric cars are a lot cheaper to make and they involve a lot less workers, so that there's going to be massive layoffs in the future. And he talked about the fact that Volkswagen was eyeing the idea of losing a lot of employees. And this is a pretty humane way to do it, but there's a lot of other auto companies in the world that are certainly not going to be that humane, and we're seeing similar winding back of the auto industry in other countries as well. And a lot of this is due with we have a peak now in at least seemingly in this new auto bubble. In the United States, for example, we have over $1 trillion new loans for autos and record sales, but a lot of these are subprime, and they also have the amount of time for these loans extended out and fees increased, and then all these are rolled into asset-backed securities. So we could have a real problem there. But in the meantime, we have, like I say, this situation with VW laying off workers, and it ties in a lot. I think this article doesn't talk anything about automation and what's going to happen there, and that's going to be a big factor in the next 5 years as well. So we're going to see probably those numbers go up as far as how many layoffs there are going to be. And the other member of the official from VW that I quoted, and I'll attach that article below, talking about all the jobs that will be lost because of electric cars. He goes into that a little bit more, so it's a little bit more of a big deal. But the other thing too that I find interesting about this is the fact that here's VW. We got Donald Trump in the United States talking about bringing jobs back to the United States, and auto manufacturers that are spread all over the globe. And interestingly enough, with VW, two of the hardest hit areas for layoffs are going to be Argentina and Brazil. So even German companies are, outsourcing a certain amount of work and labor and moving factories overseas. So that's another interesting aspect of this. But there you have it. VW announcing fairly dramatically that they're going to lose 30,000 people over the next 5 years, which isn't that much spread over 5 years, and globally is not that much of their global workforce, but it's a big step. It's something we don't see in Germany that often, and it's certainly an indicator of trends of the future. And I definitely think the numbers are going to start going up even according to VW itself, as far as layoffs go. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.